Alrighty guys, we're back for Selesnya mounts, and this is an Outlaws of Thunder Junction standard brew, and I'm Redcat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. Check out all of our mounts. We have all 4 Ornery Tumblewags. This is a 3 mana 2/2. It is a mount, of course, and then the saddle is 2. When you saddle something, it's essentially like crewing up a vehicle, only it's on a creature instead, and then you saddle only as a sorcery as well. At the beginning of combat on your turn, you put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Whenever Ornery Tumblewagg attacks while saddled, double the number of +1/+1 counters on target creature. I think that's going to be really good in here. We do have a bunch of other ways to put +1/+1 counters on things too. More mounts here. We might as well finish going over the 3 mana cards too. This is Congregation Gryff. This is a 3 mana 1/4 flying lifelink. Saddle is 3, so a little bit steeper than the Tumblewagg. When it attacks while saddled, it gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of mounts you control, so that could be interesting, huh? Especially if you're also putting a bunch of +1/+1 counters onto the Gryff as well. I think that flying and lifelink could really hold the game together often, especially against certain matches too. Also, just being a 1/4, it doesn't get picked up by like Lightning Strike too, so I actually think this is going to do a thing today, guys. We have a Cosmic Rebirth in here because we have a little bit of like, I don't want to call it a reanimation theme, but we care about having things in our graveyard, which we'll go over in just a second. Cosmic Rebirth, I feel, is often overlooked, and it actually is pretty valuable. So at 3 mana, it's an instant speed. Choose target permanent card in your graveyard. If it has mana value 3 or less, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't put it onto the battlefield, you put it into your hand, and then you also gain 3 life from this too. So all at instant speed, I like it. So we have Wylie Duke Atiin Hero. This is a 3 mana 4/2 legendary creature. We have 3 of them in here. It has vigilance, and when it becomes tapped, you gain 1 life and draw a card. So that's going to work perfect when we saddle things up with Wylie Duke. Gaining 1 life, drawing a card. Yeah, keeping our hand nice and stocked. Sounds great. So we'll go over our 2 mana spots now. We have Seraphic Steed. This is a 2 mana 2/2 first strike lifelink. It's a friggin' unicorn. That's all the reason I need to have it in here. But of course, it is a mount too. So the saddle is 4. That's pretty steep, honestly. But I have all 4 of them because I really want to see this do a thing today. So when it attacks while saddled, you create a 3/3 white angel creature token with flying. Nice, dude. I like this card. But yeah, saddling it up for 4 might be tricky. So we have Miriam, Herd Whisperer, as a 2 of. A 2 mana 3/2 legendary creature. As long as it's your turn, mounts and vehicles you control have hexproof. Okay, and whenever a mount or vehicle you control attacks, you put a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, that's a pretty good ability, man. I like that. Got a couple of Throw from the Saddle as a 2 mana sorcery, and target creature you control gets +1/+1 until end of turn, but it gets a +1/+1 counter instead if it's a mount. Then it just deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. So it's worth noting that that's not a fight spell, it's just dealing that damage. I think that extra +1/+1 counter on a mount will go a long way too. It's going to be interesting to see how good this actually is. Probably janky, but we'll see. Got 4 Stubborn Burrowfiends. A lot of new cards in this one, huh? So this is a 2 mana 2/2. It has saddle for 2, and when it becomes saddled for the first time each turn, you mill 2 cards. Then Stubborn Burrowfiend gets +X/+X until end of turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Well, how many creatures do we have in here? 31 creatures. Very nice. So honestly, that +X/+X could be pretty good. We have all 4 Intrepid Stablemasters too. It's a 2 mana 2/2. Has reach. That's decent. And you can tap it for a green source or tap it to add 2 mana of any one color. Spend this mana only to cast mount or vehicle spells. Yeah, that looks pretty good too, honestly. There's a lot of cool synergies with these mount cards, huh? We have a couple recommissions because, like I said, we have that small graveyard theme. When we are milling off of the Burrowfiend and whatnot, it wouldn't be a bad thing to go ahead and grab one of our 3 mana mounts with a recommission. And also fitting that graveyard theme, we have 4 Rubblebelt Mavericks, also fitting a +1/+1 counter theme that we have in here with the Tumblewagg. Same concept with the Cenote Scout as a 2 of, and then a couple Steer Clears just for more removal. This could totally be your removal of choice, guys. I just got it in here to fit that mount theme. Okay, the dual lands I thought about for a little bit. We do have 3 of the Surveil lands, again, fitting that graveyard theme a little bit. All 4 of the Thickets. We got a Restless Prairie. We also have this Bucolic Ranch, which taps for a colorless. You can tap it to add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a mount spell, and then it also has a bottom ability too. For 3, you can tap this, look at the top card of your library. If it's a mount card, you may reveal it and put it into your hand. If you don't put it into your hand, you may put it on the bottom of the library. So that's interesting, to say the least, right? Who endures in a couple Suit of the Empires, because I'm not convinced I actually have enough removal in here. Some honorable mentions. I thought about Helping Hand, of course. Unnatural Restoration almost made the cut because of that Proliferate. Mobile Homestead could have been neat, and then Cavern of Souls almost made the list to call Mount every now and then. Okay, guys, we'll try to save the rest of the discussion for the end of the video. In the meantime, let's go ahead, take it into some ranked, and see how we do. Okay, we'll see if we can get right into that first game here. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? Okay, this one should be super janky. But dude, I think it's going to be fun. I think these mount cards and a lot of these mount synergies just look like so much fun to play with. Okay, no white source in hand, unfortunately. We do have a lot of dual lands packed in. I don't know. I'm not convinced that this is a mulligan, though. We can play almost everything in hand already. I'm going to give it a shot. If we get to keep Stablemaster on the board too, and we start seeing some of our other mounts off the top. Yeah, no, I actually don't mind this hand. And I think we have a really good chance of seeing a white source for the mana too. Hey, there we go. All right. Get that down, get that surveil. Recommission. I guess that's not terrible. We should probably keep that. Okay. I'll keep it. We already have Cosmic Rebirth in hand too. But like, we have to anticipate our creatures dying often. Uh-oh, Boros. Uh-oh. So Case. Case is one of their pieces of removal. What else? What else does Boros run? I guess sometimes they run Burn too, don't they? They go for the swing. This would be the turn for their flash creature then. Or it could also be Burn open, but I can only imagine they're going to flash something down. Okay. Stablemaster, we could easily see. Well, honestly, Stablemaster on the board with our third in hand. If we can keep Stablemaster, we play the Forest, we tap Stablemaster, or a Burrowfiend. Oh, wait. We don't even need the third in hand. Yeah, if we can keep Stablemaster, we can play both Burrowfiends easy peasy. Without the opponent, like let's say they don't have removal, then at that point we might have trades or chump blocks that we wouldn't mind doing and then dropping Cosmic Rebirth or Recommission when it comes time. And then Cosmic Rebirth gaining us life too. All that could be really good. Do you guys think they're going to have more mounts in the upcoming sets to play with all these? I kind of hope so. They're really neat. Or I should say they seem neat, because I guess technically this is the first time I'm playing with mounts. And the set's been out for a little while too. It took me long enough, huh? I'll tell you what. Yeah, we have good blocks here, so they're going to want to tap down for the Warden so they can get that 2/3 through effectively. They're not going to swing with the 1/1, I would assume. They keep that back for now until they can buff it up to a trade. Which would be, of course, like War Leader's Call or something. We would take that too, without too many worries. Oh, heck yeah, dude. All right. So how do I want to do this? So first of all, we should probably remove the Warden. Right. So we'll use the throw the saddle and do it that way. 1, 2, 3 at the beginning of combat. And that gets an extra one there. So we tap you. We'll go green. Tumblewagg. We'll go into combat. And I think I'm going to spread this. This is not a mount. This is a mount. So what we're going to do is we're going to put one on the Stablemaster. And then we're going to go throw the saddle on the Tumblewagg, and then target the Warden. So we get that counter, and then 3 damage, get that Warden off the board. Pretty good, dude. Actually, this is a freaking terrific turn 3. Couple 3 mana, a couple 3/3 creatures on the board. And like, we're not too scared, unless it's exile removal, we're not too scared of removal or blocking or trading. We still have a treasure over here too. Okay, all right, Evangelist is a problem with this wide board state. Okay, throw from the saddle off the top is actually pretty good, isn't it? One of the things we want, so we're gonna want to mount up that like there. Consider a swing. Throw the saddle before combat to get the swing to double the counters as well. I doubt they end up blocking into it. This is sorcery speed, by the way. 1 second, opponent. I am thinking, buddy. I want to make sure I do this correctly. First of all, we'll use you to get the Burrowfiend down, right? And then we want to do, we probably want to pop the Evangelist before they get a swing. They do get a bat to block with, but I don't think we want to be too concerned about that, right? Now we throw the saddle, get rid of the Evangelist. No matter what, we want to make it so that way they don't have a way to buff the board state wide. And we're going to saddle up here like this. We go onto the Tumblewagg. We go swing, double the amount of counters on the Tumblewagg. That's an 8/8. They're probably taking this damage. Hopefully we don't die next turn, right? Oh, they chump. This doesn't have trample. Dude, I keep doing that with my big creatures too. I forget what the last video was. It was I think it was a video for last week, but I swung with something huge and I was like, and that's game. But no, like, I always trick myself for some reason with big chunky creatures. Yeah, easy chump from the opponent. Hopefully we don't die. But getting the Tumblewagg this huge gets it out of burn range quite successfully. And then also... Okay, they must have a chump blocker here then, right? Yeah, so it's probably another Resolute Reinforcements, I would say. So Cosmic Rebirth. There's nothing in the grave. We're going to have to make sure we keep some blockers back this turn, but I'm still going to swing with the Tumblewagg for sure. We could keep the Cosmic Rebirth for the end of their turn after we lose some of our creatures. Probably not great, because I want to make sure I saddle up the Tumblewagg. And we could potentially get something in the grave on the mill on the Burrowfiend if I want to do that. If I want to swing there. 1, 2. Actually, we have 5, 13 on the board. With their chump blocks, though, that's the problem. Yeah, that's the problem. So I'm going to keep blockers back then and just swing. We have to anticipate reinforcements no matter what here. Yeah. Okay, Resolute Reinforcements comes down. So if we would have full swung, that could have been very dangerous because their top deck could have buffed this wide board state easily. All right. Let's see what you got, opponent. I suppose, actually... Yeah, never mind. We wouldn't want to do that. Yeah, when we saddle this up, you don't have to swing to get the mill. So the mill could still work well for the recommission. They're going to have to keep back here, guys. You know what I'm thinking right now? Udama of the West Tree would have been a sick addition. GG opponent, really? They had chump blockers for days, but they must not have been seeing a lot of what they wanted to see. For the concede there, right? Because, yeah, without trample on the Tumblewagg, maybe... Yeah, I don't know, actually. We might want to consider something that gives trample, though. We might talk more about that in the final thoughts at the end of the video, so... That was pretty sick, though. Honestly, can't be too mad about taking out Boros, I know that much. And the removal was pretty good, right? Putting the extra counter on the mount while removing something with the mount. That actually felt pretty good. I like that. Yeah, and since it's not a fight spell too, it actually let us have really good swings after the fact as well. So yeah, that was awesome. All right, there's the steed. Heck yeah, man. There's nothing to complain about here. The biggest complaint would be when our creatures die, now we don't have ways to bring them back like we did in the last game. So if the opponent's actually playing some removal here, for example. Skrelv, okay. Definitely start with the Surveil land. I think it's good for next turn. Second, Wylie Duke. Depends what we're up against. I'm going to send it, though. Getting creatures into the graveyard isn't terrible either. I just hope we don't see mana off the top now. If it wasn't a legendary, I think I would have kept it on top. But also, we already have a couple 3-drops too, so that's already a couple turns in a row of spending 3 mana for something. That's pretty tough. But turn 2 Steed into a turn 3 Wylie Duke, that's going to be pretty good. As we get to saddle up for 4, swing on in, hopefully, right? Depends what's on their board. We don't want to lose the Steed and just trade it off for a 3/3 flyer. But we will get to draw and gain from the Wylie Duke too. Okay, we'll go ahead and pause until the opponent shows up. The opponent has arrived, and they played a Lunarch veteran and a recruitment officer. That should be very scary for us. We're gonna stay on task here. Gonna get the Steed down, and hopefully it doesn't get picked up by a Cathar, because we still have a really, really good swing. If we can get that Wylie Duke down, saddle up the Steed, and swing on in. So the hope is they don't have a third plains, and the hope is they're just going for the swings instead of anything else here. Ossification, you monster. Are you sure you don't want to use different removal that isn't exile? Wink, wink. No, we don't have anything to bring it back from the grave anyways. But that does change our line a little bit, huh? Because now it's probably the Gryff here. But saddling this, we actually don't have other mounts. But it doesn't say other mounts. It does say where X is the number of mounts you control. So it does count itself, luckily. And steer clear too. We're going to want to keep the Seat of the Empire back probably. So let's... Excuse me, guys. Let's get the Gryff down. I think that's still pretty good because it is a 1/4 lifelink flyer. If they miss some removal here, it's a really, really good blocker. You got to be cautious with the Skrelv, though. Once we get low enough, the Skrelv can start pushing through creatures. They go Officer for the turn. Looks like we get to keep the Gryff around for a little bit. We might actually get a good swing with some good life gain for the turn. They hit an Adeline off the Officer. They go ahead and pass it back. Yeah, look at that blocker, dude. Doing the thing. That's great for us, man. We can keep the Steer Clear open, or we can play the Scout. Either way, I'm pretty sure it's going to be Wylie Duke. This extra life gain's pretty good, and we're going to go for that swing. So it'll be a 2/4, since we only have one other mount. But we get to replenish our hand off the Duke. Go back up to 16. Stablemaster, nice. I mean, honestly, I would have said nice with any creature, let's be real, but... And then we'll go ahead and probably keep the Steer Clear open, because if they full swing, then we're taking out that Skrelv, right? Who Endures can also hit the Skrelv, I guess. I don't necessarily want to ramp them, though, and we know the Adeline's coming too. Seat of the Empire is going to be great for that. Actually, Steer Clear, as long as we get to keep a mount, also takes care of Adeline, so maybe I just wait for the turn? No, because no matter what, we want to hit the Skrelv with something. Alright. Right? I think so. Yeah, because if we try to hit the Adeline while they keep the Skrelv as protection. So we're kind of hoping that they swing, but I'm pretty sure they keep the Skrelv as protection here. And at that point, I guess we could ramp them. Get an extra 1/1. Back up to 21. Taking 4 down to 14. The Skrelv needs to go, right? I think so. I think so. We want to do it at the end of their turn. Either they're going to get an untapped Plains. I think this is worthwhile, guys. I really do. We do it at the end so they can't just play Skrelv number 2 at the main phase 2. I think that was much better than just dropping the Scout for the turn as well. The mount off the top would be good. Throw the saddle. Okay. Okay, interesting. It doesn't hit the Adeline, but it's not bad. It's not bad here. They have 3 in hand. It is Sorcery Speed. We have Scout for the turn 2. We might want to saddle to draw first, right? Draw off the Wylie Duke. Seems like a really good card, doesn't it? Okay, mana. Mana might change our line a little bit. Probably not, though. Although we'll have Stablemaster for the turn now, too. Okay, let's go ahead and take care of the Recruitment Officer. Even though Veteran's gaining them a lot of life, I think when they have this much mana, Officer's ability is really good, isn't it? And then we have Steer Clear open, and we can play the Stablemaster for the turn, right? This isn't a mount in and of itself, though, so we might as well swing first. All right. Not bad, dude. Not bad at all. A lot of options. Steer Clear is going to take care of that Adeline. Hopefully. I guess there could be something. So when you control a mount, like they could remove the mount, for example, and then we won't have Seat of the Empire available. Oh, hit the Wylie Duke. Hit the Wylie Duke. Hit the Wylie Duke. Not the mount. Yes. Okay. Let's take care of that Adeline. Although losing Wylie Duke makes me a little sad, but still. All right, Steer Clear, 4 damage. Good stuff, man. All right, and we got to block into one of these too. I'm going to take that risk. They only have 1 card in hand. And then 19. Another Throw the Saddle. Holy cow, dude. That's brutal. Are we getting lucky, guys? Are we getting lucky? This is good, man. Ooh, Tumblewagg. Holy cow. Go all in. All right. That's that. Oh, I should have tapped the Stablemaster and played the Scout. I'm not entirely sure why I didn't. I guess we'll swing with it then instead. That's a 6/9 lifelink, guys. They dropped the nice thank you, opponent. Yeah, this is actually pretty sick. I'm just going to take the 2 here, not lose the Tumblewagg. I will crew up the Tumblewagg, though, to double the counters. Looks like they're letting us play this out. Maybe they have removal in hand. Maybe not. Double the counters there. Thank you for letting me play that out, opponent. That was a fun swing. Dude. I can't believe it, but that's doing a thing, huh? That felt pretty good. Dude, we gotta consider it jank, though, right? Like, there's no way. Like, we're probably getting a little lucky, first of all. The removal in the build that's specifically for mounts and stuff actually feels pretty good, but maybe it's just like any removal we would have seen we would have been happy with too. But that extra counter on the saddle up just actually feels like it's doing a thing. So, oh, this is a mulligan. Yes. That is a terrible hand. Okay, okay, here we go. Yeah, this throw from the saddle. I mean, sorcery speed definitely slows it down. Yeah, we have turn 1 Maverick if we take a damage. Turn 2. I'm just gonna take it slow here. And probably go turn 1. Alright, we're gonna ditch the ranch because there's not too many mounts in hand right now. I'm not sure how much the ranch is gonna do. We're gonna start with the surveil. We're gonna take it a little slow. Who endures? I'm just gonna keep on top. Third land is great, but also just having utility is pretty good too. Alright, Stubborn Burrowfiend comes down. Maybe mount that up with Wylie Duke here. High noon. Let's go, dude. Alright. So opponent's tapped out. Gladly take that one against control, especially. Restock hand. Maverick, huh? Oh, we didn't hit any creatures in the grave. That's unfortunate. But a couple of these Mavericks. It's too bad Maverick didn't hit the grave before we drew. That would have been pretty good. So, Stablemaster. Well, yeah. So we start with Stablemaster. We'll mount this up. I want to say crew so bad. And I'm going to crew with this and swing with the Wylie Duke. Okay, so that does get the little bit of a buff here, huh? But we can only play one thing each turn. We should probably use the Who Endures on the High Noon then, huh? Well, maybe not. Maybe we're okay. Okay, so we'll go for the swing. 7 through. We might be okay to only play one thing every turn. Anyways, we want to make sure we restock our hand here. Since the vigilance on the Duke is actually pretty good, huh? Alright. So we can potentially go Who Endures at the end of their turn too. Make sure that the High Noon is taxing them for this entire turn. Is that something we want? Probably. It's ramp for them. It's untapped ramp. 1, 2, saddle up. Ah, never mind, never mind. I changed my mind for some reason, and I'm not 100% sure why. But that's what I'm going to be doing for now. So they're at 11. I'm going to start with our Rubblebelt Maverick. If Throw the Saddle was instant speed, I'd probably keep that. As if they drop a Wandering Emperor and go for like a 2/2 to block the Wylie Duke, it'd be really good to have that. But that's why this is sorcery speed too. Like that would be a little bit too good, huh? Bounce the Wylie Duke back. So they think we're only doing one thing here. So while we have Who Endures for 1 mana, we go 1 mana onto the High Noon. We can replay the Wylie Duke and use that to saddle up the Stubborn and then restock our hand that way. And then hopefully we're putting some extra creatures into the grave on this Surveil too. They go ahead and grab a Rafine's Tower. They must not have any 1-drops. We do not want the land. So we're going to send that. Wylie Duke comes down. I want to take the pain damage here. My face. Okay, we're probably running right into a board wipe next turn too, huh? So restocking our hand is going to be excellent. Hopefully we get some good damage with the Burrowfiend. Okay, it is 4. That's not bad. So we're swinging for 6 for the turn. All right, opponent, do your worst to my poor, poor creatures, huh? Sunfall, right on time. Okay, so what could we possibly do to get around that board wipe? Because we don't have our Restless Land on the board. Like Burrowfiend, Stablemaster. We could just drop everything, right? Just play everything onto the board and hope they don't have the second Sunfall. We want to make sure we set up lethal. We only play like 2 things, then maybe they don't drop the Sunfall, and maybe they keep something else open instead. So control's gonna be particularly difficult, man. We're gonna saddle, see what we see here, and keep the Maverick in hand as a little bit of a surprise next turn. Instead of just like running into that. Instead of just like running into the Sunfall. Funny enough, with 31 creatures, we're kind of missing on a lot of these mills and surveils, huh? If we didn't miss as much earlier, the Burrowfiend might have been able to wrap this up already. High noon. All right, that's their one thing for the turn. They do have this incubator, though. Unfortunately, another reason why that sorcery speed slows down throw from the saddle so much. They're going to be able to incubate or power up the incubator really effectively. I'm going to keep that on top, and unfortunately that means the Surveil from the Maverick also isn't doing the thing. But we're going to need every creature possible here, right? Get 1 play. Okay, so we'll play the Maverick this turn as our 1 play. Ooh, if they power that up now, I was going to say that would be great for us. Oh, it's 2 steeds. Crap, they're both going to get milled when I saddle, though. Actually, that's kind of a part of the deck, isn't it? Let's do that. Yeah, why not? Why not? I actually think we're in big trouble, so... So we're milling the 2 creatures, I guess at this point intentionally. We got a 6/6. We'll swing. See if they just power up and block. So it's not a Wandering Emperor. That's great for us, man. Because what ends up happening now is we can... Well... I guess it depends what the opponent does for the turn, because it could be a second Sunfall. I'm on the edge of my seat. Memory Deluge. They still have 3 mana open, and this is their 1 card for the turn, so some spot removal or something. Yeah, what's important to note is the Steed doesn't have haste or anything, too. It would have taken more turn to set up, and... Oh, there's a 4th. Recommission. Oh, they exiled our Wylie, though, huh? Recommission's good. Recommission's great. I don't know what we want to bring back with it, though. They definitely have something in hand, like 110%. I guess the Gryff is a little bit better than the Steed. Although we do get a +1/+1 counter on it, too. And we could try to mill more with these... I guess we could always... Yeah, it's whenever I'm saddled for the first turn. And the Steed also will eventually get things into the air if we have big saddles. Alright, I'm going to go for some air power here with the Gryff, and then use the 2/5 Gryff to saddle up the Burrowfiend, and then full swing that way. And then if it's Wandering Emperor, they exile the Burrowfiend for sure. What you got? What you got, opponent? Counterspell, maybe. Oh, bounce spell, maybe. Actually, I don't really know what the high noon lists are playing. Not 100% certain. Oh, they're going to exile our graveyard, guys. Yeah. Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. Because that was our one thing, and now we can't play the throw the saddle. So let's see what we mill with the Burrowfiend here. It does become a 3/3, but now that flanker trades into it, and they would love that trade. We get 1 through there. Still at 4. I'm going to say no attacks, unfortunately, guys. Flanker just trades a little bit too well right now. Exiling the grave was brutal. Brutal stuff. They got 3 in hand. Memory Deluge for the turn. They got 5 mana open. Luckily, High Noon also taxing them, so if they see a Sunfall, they're not able to play the Sunfall this turn. But with 5 mana, they can easily just grab whatever they need. And I thought last turn was going to be the Wandering Emperor, so at some point, it's going to be the Wandering Emperor. Start with the saddle, right? Saddle for 2. It's too bad the Maverick isn't a 2/2 as well. There's some better swings here. Oh no, our Cosmic Rebirth. Okay. We can play the mana. Throw the saddle. I mean, hey, you never know. We could win, right? We could swing with that Stubborn and maybe they don't have removal. Go for the throat. Devastating. I'm going to swing with my 1/1 now. Yeah, down to 4. All right. I think this is heavily leaning towards the opponent. I kind of want to get one more match in too, so let's see what they end up doing. Holy cow, it's been a while since I've seen you. Good old Jin, buddy. Steer clear, huh? Okay. Attacking or blocking creature. If we control a mount, it's 4 damage. Unfortunately, no great ways around that. We gotta pass. I'm going to read this Jin now because it's been forever. So whenever they cast an artifact, instant, or sorcery, they copy it. Choose new targets for the copy. Triggers only once each turn, so they get double deluge here. Oh, that's actually really sick with the high noon, isn't it? That's really cool. So then also whenever an opponent casts an artifact, instant, or sorcery spell, counter that spell. This ability triggers only once each turn. So we would need double the amount of instants in hand to actually pull that off anyway. So actually all we wanted to see was just more creatures off the top. But the more creatures we end up seeing... I mean, yeah, it's not like we have a lot of haste or anything in here. Oh, Tumblewagg. Hi, buddy. Get rid of that land. We definitely don't need that. Would Tumblewagg be able to do anything for us? With that Jin on the board... I don't know, guys. Good old Progress Tyrant over here might be the nail in the coffin. Oh, if they double down on removal, too. Oh, it's exile removal. Oh, man. We won't even get the Maverick's ability here. Okay. Let's go. Let's see what they do about the Tumblewagg, and then we'll give it to the opponent, huh? And we'll try to get into one more before we wrap up for the evening. I mean, I'll block that. At this point, like, you know, the opponent's at 4. They have double of everything thanks to the Jin. Celestis. So I guess they just keep the main one then. That was that was their one play for the turn. So we'll see what they do to the Tumblewagg, like I said, and then we'll give it to them. Because if they let us keep it, then there might be a small way through, but I really, really doubt it. Especially with the them being able to double the memory deluge to find whatever they need to their hand. Like that kind of like guarantees their victory, I would say. Like they'd have to get incredibly unlucky. Tumblewagg is chilling on the stack. I am, in fact, not at the edge of my seat because I'm pretty sure they have a way to deal with this. They're probably just deciding, should I use this card, this card, this card, or this card? Timeout used as well. This is our one play for the turn because of the high noon. And either way, steer clear would have been countered by the Jin anyways. It is 3 steps ahead, which actually, that's pretty sick because they're copying the draw to discard as well. Right? I think so. That's actually really cool. Oh, wait. I guess not? I thought they were copying the draw, or maybe the copy... I don't know how that works, honestly. Either way, let's go ahead. We'll drop them the good game. Drop that concede. Control did the control thing, unfortunately. It's only a 14-minute game, too. I believe we have time for one more, guys. The deck is pretty cool so far. I feel like there's a lot of really neat synergies, a lot of cool things going on with mounts. So, and I actually feel like the removal's not bad, too, so... We might change this one up a bit in the final thoughts. I'm not sure where I want to change up, but I do know one thing. When I put it up on Aether Hub, even though it seems to be doing relatively okay, I'm still probably going to put it up as jank, right? Because that's what we have to consider it, I would say. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? We go first. That's good news. All right, keep this. We'll get turn 1, turn 2, turn 3. Easy peasy. Get the Restless Prairie down without too many issues on turn 3. And still have a really successful lineup. Uh-oh. The opponent mulligans twice. Well, opponent, thank you for being here, buddy. You're a champion for sticking around. I'm going to get one creature. I'm going to keep the mount. Actually, I'm going to keep both of these. Like, yeah, throwing creatures to the grave is pretty good with the Burrowfiend, but also I just feel like these are both really good things to have around, right? At that point, Stablemaster is better to have on the board to make sure we have Burrowfiend and the Herd Whisperer at the same time next turn. In case of the Shattered Pact, basic land, reveal it, put it into your hand. Oh, okay. Right. Are we potentially in danger? Green, Burrowfiend. We're gonna stick to the plan and hope that temporary lockdown doesn't completely crush me. Should we saddle for fun? We should saddle, right? We should totally saddle. All right, Maverick to the grave and a Wylie Duke as well. Very nice. Come on, opponent. Don't play the temporary lockdown. Don't play it. Don't do it. Look away. No, I don't know if 5-color plays temporary lockdown. Yeah, it's only hexproof on our turn for the Herd Whisperer. Herd Whisperer really just in here for the extra counters. I agree with the opponent's target there, for sure. For sure. I think that was a great target. So we want to start with the mount, and then we go... Who Endures could be really good in this matchup, but I want to just do more on our turn as well. Unfortunately, at any point after turn 3, that's when the board wipes actually start rolling. So 1, 2, so we're going to try Maverick on... No, we want to mount first. No, it's all the same, right? Either way, it's going to be the same amount of damage if we do it this way as well. So we'll saddle, because it's one less creature in the grave is what I was getting at, but now we have one more creature on the board to swing with as well. That makes sense to me. Big swing, and the opponent does not want to miss their board wipe this turn. If they hit the board wipe, then it's theirs, unfortunately. I don't know if there's a way around that, right? Like, if it's, I guess if it's going to the grave, I suppose we could see some of our stuff to bring stuff back. Wow, Fleetfoot Dancer. Bro, it's been a while. Up to 15. Opponent's not sweating. If we had mana, that would be really good. Like, if we found our 5th and it was untapped, Restless Prairie would have been pretty good. Saddling up for 3 on the Gryff wouldn't be bad. If we can hit that Explore counter on the Cenote Scout. We do not, unfortunately. We do see the mana that we no longer need because we spent a mana there. So 1, 2 there. We are unable to saddle both of these up, unfortunately. I think it's more damage with the Burrowfiend, right? 1, 2. Yeah, hitting that counter on the Scout would have been huge for us, man. That's an 8/8. Yeah, too bad we couldn't power up that Prairie. And then 1, 2. Yeah, actually, that would have been... No, it wouldn't have been game. It wouldn't have been. Never mind. All right, swing. And then we have the Steer Clear open for the opponent's turn. This is pretty sick, dude. I really like this deck. See what the opponent ends up doing here. A board wipe would still be great. They just like swing with the Fleetfoot and then wipe the board. but they don't know we have the steer clear. If they get rid of this other mount, then the steer clear is only doing 2. Firebrand. Bro. This is just like domain. This is some kind of just really sick domain. But destroying the dancer here might mean there's going to be a concede, unfortunately. Their last mana could be another binding. It's a scamp, actually. That's not terrible, is it? I believe we have a full swing. The Gryff does not have the damage we need now that we lost a mount on the ground, but this wide swing should do it. GG opponent. All right, dude. I'll tell you what. Not half bad. we gotta go over this deck again, huh? Yeah, man. I don't know. It just didn't, like, it had a lot of available things. We got a pack 2. Let's crack it. Wilds of Eldraine. All right. Blind Obedience. That's for the older formats, correct? And we got a Cruel Somnophage. Ooh, it's been a while. Been a while since I visited something like that. All right, guys. Selesnya mounts. Here's the list again. Wylie Duke. This was good. I liked this card a lot, man. Right? I liked this. I wonder if there's like some kind of vehicle list that this could go into as well, or other lists that like care about tapping creatures. Convoke, right? Yeah, totally a Convoke list. It restocked our hand so well. Holy cow, the Vigilance was great too. I really liked that. But the Graveyard theme was potentially a little greedy in here with the double Recommission and the Cosmic Rebirth, but I still like those being added. But like, if you don't like that whole concept, you could just like add more spot removal and be pretty happy about it, I would say. Speaking of more spot removal, the throw from saddle actually felt pretty good. Sorcery speed holds it up sometimes, but that extra counter going onto a mount just seems excellent. And how many mounts do we have in here? We have 16 total mounts. Okay. Out of 31 creatures. So half of our creatures are mounts. So other than that, when you're not putting a counter on something, it's still target creature gets +1/+1 until end of turn. It's just you'd prefer it on a mount because the counter sticks around. The Herd Whisperer is kind of cool, but I could also see it as a one-of. What would we go up at that point? I'm not 100% certain. I think more testing's required with this deck for sure. It's like I said, even though it performed pretty well today, I think it's still janky. I think so, at least. Not 100% certain, but I'm pretty sure it's still janky. A lot of life gain options here with Cosmic Rebirth, Wylie Duke gaining you life, lifelink on the Steed as well, lifelink on the Gryff. Like all this extra life gain and everything actually could pull off a lot. And for some reason, we didn't see a whole lot of mono red today, right? But either way, yeah, the main changes. I still like the double scout, but when you miss on the scout, like in that last one, right? It would have been really sick to be able to saddle up a couple times, but we hit the land, and hitting the land isn't bad on the scout too. It's just much better if we would have had scout earlier on as well. But I think everything worked out nicely. I don't think we can complain too much. And so I don't think I would drop the scouts, and I wouldn't drop the Mavericks either, because when you're sending stuff to the grave on the Burrowfiend, then it's pretty great to have something that fits the counter theme, that has something where you can sink some extra mana in when we are seeing more high noon control floating about too. Like when you play one thing and you still have open mana and you can't play another thing because high noon exists, then just using something out of your grave seems really good too. Steer Clear when you don't have the mount is probably a pretty janky card, and this could also just be like Elspeth Smite, that's just 3 damage, but the 4 damage really came in handy today, all at 1 mana instant speed, 4 damage. I suppose this could still be your spot removal of choice, but Steer Clear also just fitting that theme just beautifully, man. Yeah, the theme was actually just so cool. Tumblewagg seemed great in the Congregation Glyph too. I just really like the stats on this. 3 mana, 1/4 flying, lifelink, and then it fits the mounts. The saddle is 3. I think the saddle being 2 would have been much better. So the saddle is pretty steep. And then if the opponent removes any of your other mounts too, then you're not gaining too much off of this. But luckily, it counts itself as a mount as well, where X is the number of mounts you control. I think we still want all 4 of these, because if you drop these, you're going to have to go up another mount. Because 16 mounts, half the creatures, a little over half, is probably where you want it. And maybe we want even more. Oh, Stablemaster. I liked the extra mana this added. With 22 total land, did we end up flooding at all today? Not really. Our utility lands really came in handy. We didn't get to see the ranch do a thing, but that's fine. Restless Prairie definitely did a thing, and we might even want 2 of those, right? Other than that, like I said, I was going to change something. I don't really know what to change because it's one of those things where the deck actually performed relatively decent. And like everything came into play when it came time, at least in some form or another. So more testing required at that point. Definitely let me know in the comments, what would you add or take out? Also, guys, make sure that you check out that description while you're down there where we got that Discord link as well as that Patreon link too, if you're interested in supporting the channel that way. Main reason to check out that Patreon, of course, is the patron suggestions. So yeah, check that out if you're interested. Okay, guys, enough rambling, huh? I hope you enjoyed the list as much as I enjoyed it. There are... One second here. Let me double check. What's rotating out in here this year? I guess like Seed of the Empire, Who Endures, right? We know those are leaving us soon in rotation. Everything else is new, right? Oh, the good amount of commons and uncommons in here too, so that's pretty cool. But there is a good chunk of rares too, with the Seraphic Steed, which we're not even sure if it's worth having in here. It's definitely worth it because it's a mount, so it fits that theme. You definitely want to have as many mounts in here as possible. Wylie Duke is also rare. I really liked Wylie Duke today. That was so cool. And then Tumblewagg is also a rare too, so... Okay, guys, I thought I'd separate that out real quick to see if it was worth the craft. Probably not because it's jank, but at the same time, if you already have most of the cards anyways, this is pretty fun. So, okay, guys, hey, I will see you in the next video.